Update: me and my husband have been seeing other people as part of us opening up our marriage, and we had to have a difficult conversation with our son who believed I had been cheating on his father. So for context, we have been open for 3 years. My husband and I are very happy, and we have been careful not to fall into the traps of breaking rules or boundaries, and we as a couple are doing fine. He has met some wonderful people, and so have I, who have become close friends to us. We have been very lucky since we have avoided any bad actors so far, at least. But my son, 2 months ago, told my husband that he apparently believed I was cheating on him. I'm guessing he must have found out about one of my partners. My husband told me, and we decided to tell him and reassure him that we as a couple were doing fine, and that we loved him and nothing was going to change. He seemed very anxious to have the conversation end, and I don't blame him, since it was awkward even for us to have to tell him. I thought the conversation went as fine as it could with a teenage boy because he seemed calm and just said okay, and never brought it up again. But last week, one of my partners stopped by because I needed to borrow something, and he stopped by last Saturday to deliver it. My son was at home, and my partner greeted him as he always does. They both enjoy music and have pretty much the same taste in music, and my partner asked him about a band that was supposed to be playing. My son responded, "Yeah, I don't care. I know why you are really here, so don't talk to me," and he walked out. I had told my partner that we had informed our son about our lifestyle, but not with whom, of course, and I had no idea he knew who I was seeing. He is the only one of my partners he knows, and we have never done anything in our house, and I have no idea how my son came to find out. My son blocked him on Facebook and hardly speaks that much to me or my husband anymore. He views everyone with suspicion, including my husband's best friend, who has no idea we are non-monogamous. He is, of course, a teenager, but he has never acted this way before, and he refuses to talk to anybody. We have put our lifestyle on hold and have not seen anyone since that outburst, nor do we plan to until we find some way to resolve this. I honestly want to ask for advice on how to handle this, if anyone else had to have this difficult conversation with their sons or daughters. Reading the top comments before the updates. How old is he? 13 versus 19 is pretty different. But anyway, I have a 3-year-old, so obviously not a teenager, so take my advice with a grain of salt. Wait for a calm moment and tell him you have noticed a change in his behavior and would like to discuss it. If he doesn't give you anything to work with, say that the timing of it starting was around the time of the non-monogamy conversation. Give him the opportunity to ask any questions. If he doesn't ask anything, ask him how that news makes him feel. Ask open-ended questions instead of yes/no. Don't ask does it make you upset? For example, ask him why he feels that way and what would make him feel better. I would also connect it to a larger conversation about life choices and how sometimes people don't understand or like our choices, but everyone gets to make choices for themselves. You could say something like, you might decide to do something in your life that we don't agree with one day, and that would be your choice. Anyway, that's how I'd approach it. He is 15, will be 16 in a few weeks actually, which he reminded me of when he said he did not want to celebrate his birthday. He just seems anxious, and now he only eats when we're done so he can eat by himself. We tried something stupid, and that was to say to him that he should sit down and eat with us and that his behavior was not acceptable. But then he refused to eat altogether and only ate at school, and even brought food from school in his backpack and ate in his room. That's a pretty extreme response, to be honest. When I was about his age, I had a massive reveal in my family as well. It made me distrust a lot of people, but after a bit, my grandmother basically got to the point that she couldn't talk to me, so I needed to see someone. I resented being put in therapy for about a month. My grandma made it clear that she loved me and was there for me, but whatever was happening was something she could see I didn't want to discuss with her. But holding in the pain, anger, and betrayal is unhealthy. My therapist eventually got me to a point where I could have a discussion with those who were involved in the big issue. It was hard and awkward, but it worked. I was about 13 at the time, so a bit younger. Is there a parent he's closer to? Could one of you offer to sit with him, just you all, and present your concerns? Son, your parent and I are worried about you. We know the reveal is hard, and we don't expect you to accept and love this situation. But we've been this way for a while. If you won't talk with us about it, is there someone you can? We're worried about you. Something like that. Also, it may just be a situation of wait it out depending on how long this is going to go on. He just seems dead set on keeping quiet and refuses to engage with us at all, and it seems he has decided to keep his head down. There's one adult we are hoping to God he does not share this with, and that is my husband's brother, who is the polar opposite of my husband. My husband's brother, like all men in my husband's family, is military or former military. It's a military family, and my father-in-law gave my husband hell when he was my son's age because he broke the tradition. He became an academic. However, my father-in-law treats my son like a son almost. I just pray he does not mention this to them. Update. Hi, I am the OP. I lost my password to the account because Google Chrome did not store the password. Just wanted to say that the last few months have been difficult. He has been giving us the silent treatment except when we ask him to do anything, chores or homework, that kind of thing. I can't complain about him, since he cleans his room, does the dishes when it's his turn, and is, for a teenage boy, very responsible. But he seems to be keeping his head down and refuses to engage with us. He has at least decided he can sit at the same table with us and eat dinner again, which took 3 months to happen. We tried, after 2 months of writing the post, to slowly ease him into the conversation and tried to explain, but he was not very receptive and did not respond at all to anything we were saying. We also apologized if he felt lied to and told him we were sorry that he was led to believe that I had been cheating on his father, and that I love his father and we are not splitting up. He had known about my partner for quite a while, longer than I realized. He had known about it for almost 4 months and had been agonizing over how to tell his father. In that time, a lot of anger and resentment toward me had been festering. He at least answers his father now in full sentences, but with me he is keeping me at arm's length. I think the way he found out, and the fact that he believed for so long that I cheated, and didn't know what to do and was scared to tell his father, is what caused a lot of damage. And then for his father to say, "I know, and it's okay, she is not cheating," was probably a lot to handle, and not the reaction he expected. Instead of feeling relieved, he felt lied to and humiliated. All that pain he went through believing I had cheated. And I understand that now. It's just been very hard, since I have not been able to even give him a hug in a long time. I touched his shoulder to remind him of something and he froze and looked really uncomfortable. So that's the update, not really a happy one, I'm sorry to say, and it's been hard. We have stopped all dates, obviously, but I'm not sure what more I can do except give him space and hope he finally decides to speak to me again. Second update, 9 months later. Hi, OP here. Well, a year later now, he at least talks normally to his father, but he is keeping me at arm's length, literally. I have not been able to give him a hug since before this happened. He finally opened up to my husband about what exactly he discovered, and it was a picture of me and one of my partners taken at a resort. My husband tried to explain, and I apologized to him for what he saw, because I was the one who said it was okay for him to use the iPad. I didn't close the damn tabs and forgot to log out of my account. He has not acted out, but he seems to have closed off for me completely, and only me. He talks to everyone normally now except me. So that's the update. Did they not ever send this kid to therapy? Yeah, that seems like an obvious step one. Therapy isn't the magic creditors think it is, and there are some missing reasons here. He is angry at her for more than just this. Being delulu is not the solulu. As someone whose parents put him in therapy when he was angry at them as a teen, I can confirm that it's not a magic solve everything button. As anyone can tell you, you can only change if you want to change, and it's very easy for the kid to see it similarly to being sent to their room for talking back. It's still probably the right thing to do, mind you, but they have to be involved, and he can't see it as something you're just doing to try to change his behavior. My man has to be thinking that every adult his parents interact with are banging them. Not something many people want on their mind, especially at 15. For real, knowing that random men have been plowing his mom his whole life is not good for any kid, let alone an angsty teen. God forbid anyone at school finds out, your mom jibes are going to obliterate him. Crappy parents overall, as they clearly did not give a single thought about how it was going to affect their kid when they went into this, never mind a whole-ass explicit pic of his mom getting plowed by a stranger on the iPad. Kid's absolutely going straight to the army at 18 to get away from this, and all the power to him. Next story. I caught my mom cheating and she's trying to convince me my dad knows. Original post. I'm F17, and until a couple of days ago, I thought I lived in the perfect family, raised by my 2 loving parents, early 40s. My dad is an engineer who has been traveling a lot for the past year, and my mom is in healthcare, taking shifts at different times of the day. My laptop broke down, and I asked to use mom's laptop to finish a school project. When I was working, I saw a couple of WhatsApp web notifications pop up with sexual messages. I tried not to pay attention until I realized these were from Pete and not from Dad. I could not believe my eyes, and I felt like throwing the laptop in the trash and pretending I had never seen it. After I collected my thoughts, I went back to the chat, and from what I could see, they met at least 4 to 5 times, starting just a couple of months after my dad began traveling. I took photos of the chat history and went to my room, trying to process it. I couldn't even finish my homework. From the messages, they were supposed to meet tonight, and lo and behold, just half an hour before the meeting time, she passed by my room to let me know she was going to work. The next day, I gathered my courage to confront her. I think she knew that I discovered her because the new chat messages had been read by me, and I think I left the chat tab open before returning her laptop. I told her I knew what she was doing and that it was wrong. She sat me down and tried to calm me, but I told her no way I would be calm, and she said I would understand once I heard the explanation. She told me that she and Dad agreed to open their marriage shortly after he began traveling. To be honest, I didn't fully comprehend, so she explained what that entailed. She told me it was completely physical, and she would never have feelings for anyone other than my dad. The messages I read support this, as they were only about sex, and that they agreed to only do it if one of them was away. She closed by saying that this is adult stuff agreed between 2 loving adult spouses and that I should stay out of it. I was dumbfounded and didn't know how to react the whole time. I started reading online about open marriage, and that's how I found this subreddit. It was consistent with what she said, but it still didn't make sense to me. I don't believe my dad would agree to this, as his views are generally more conservative. Also, when he's away, he's more present with us than she is. He video chats with us or plays online games with my 2 brothers almost daily. In yesterday's call, I asked him why he has to travel so much, and he said this is hard but necessary to secure college money for me and my brothers. He assured me it will change soon. I asked him how he can bear being away from his wife for almost half the year, and he said since their relationship foundation is strong, temporary separation only makes them miss each other more and value the time they have together. He asked me if everything was alright, and I told him not to worry. I honestly don't know if I should believe her. Should I ask her for proof for the open marriage claim? I am mortified to tell Dad, but is that my only option to confirm? I don't want our perfect family to be torn apart, but would it be fair to Dad to keep this secret? I've been crying non-stop since this revelation and don't know what to do. Reading the top comments before the update. Tell your dad. If he already knows, then he won't care. Or better yet, tell her you need to hear it from your dad. Her reaction will tell you everything. Put a deadline on it, and if you haven't heard it from him, then tell him yourself. Even beyond this, if her dad knew about it, then it would make sense for Mom and Dad to speak with her about it together, or for the dad to bring up the topic after being notified by the mom that the daughter knew. I have a few friends who do this, and the primary thing is transparency for all involved, and the daughter is involved now. This shouldn't have been a mom-only conversation, and that's precisely why it feels like a secret. Tell the dad, and he'll explain his side of it if he's agreed to it. From his explanation of why he's traveling, it sounds like he's fairly communicative with his children when it comes to hard questions. Update. I thought this would be a good time to update you about how the situation progressed, but it'll be a long post. Reading through your responses, there were a lot of people recommending that I tell my dad, and others saying to keep to myself or talk it out with Mom. It took me a lot of time to think and decide that I wanted to somehow bring it up with my dad, but that I wanted to wait to do it in person. His next home visit was in 5 days after the original incident. While waiting for that, I was really uncomfortable with my mom and was second-guessing every move she made. She tried to play it cool, start conversations, or suggest going out, but I tried to avoid her. Even if my dad did know, I was subconsciously treating her coldly. This might have contributed to what would happen next. On the night before my father's arrival, it seems Mom broke down. She came into my room when I was about to sleep and asked if we could talk. She started talking about generic things and how hard it was for her to be almost a single mom this past year with 2 teenage boys, and thanked me for helping out with that. Now I started to see her tear up while she brought up that she might not have been completely honest about the open relationship thing. Long story short, according to her, she suggested to Dad a while ago to open the marriage, but he didn't give her a definite answer. Rather, he said that he would think about it and get back to her. She said she tried to revisit the topic, but he kept changing the subject. So no agreement from my dad, that was clearly established. Now at least I knew what to expect when I approached him. By this time, she was completely sobbing and trying to guilt-trip me about the consequences of disclosing the whole situation to him. I felt sorry for her and told her the right thing to do was to come clean, but she said she didn't have the courage to do it. I told her I would do it if she didn't. She said she would think about it and we both went to bed, not that I could get any sleep after that. My dad arrived the next afternoon. Earlier that morning, my mom sent in the family chat that she had to take an emergency shift, wouldn't be back until the evening, and apologized repeatedly. In the private chat, I asked her what the hell she was doing, and she said she wasn't ready to tell him and needed more time to find the courage. I told her I didn't think I could hold it together and act normal around him, so he would most likely find out from me if she didn't do it that night. She sent several crying emojis, then gave me the go-ahead to talk to him and told me to update her if it was safe for her to come back home after I talked to Dad. I don't know what she meant by that, since my dad was never the violent type. Over dinner, my dad was visibly displeased because Mom never takes shifts during his arrival. When we were alone, after a lot of small talk, he told me that one of his coworkers was getting married next week, so he would try to stay around to attend. I used that as a transition and told him that I came across the term open marriage. I told him that after hearing and reading about it, I asked Mom what she thought of it, and Mom told me it would be ideal for her situation. Then I asked him what he thought about it. He was taken by surprise. He said he doesn't believe in polygamy, another term I just learned, and that if a couple feels the need for it, they should address whatever issue is making them feel that way, and if it cannot be resolved, then polygamy would not be the answer. I asked if Mom had asked him for an open marriage. He said yes, but that he refused on the spot. After that, he promised her that he would ask to take a local position, which is a bit of a demotion for him, because he didn't know she felt that way, especially since he didn't take this job in the first place until she said she was okay with him traveling. He was actually just approved to move back to our city and would start the new job after the new year. He had been planning to surprise my mom with the news. I asked him when the first time they talked about this open marriage proposal was, and he assured me it was only one conversation that happened about 5 months ago. This is definitely after the time my mom first met Pete. He started to pressure me about what was going on, but I managed to get out of the conversation by saying I needed time alone to piece together the two sides of the story. By looking at the message dates, apparently my mom started seeing this guy, not sure if they had sex initially or not, then asked to open the marriage to give her legitimacy to F him. When my dad refused, she did it anyway. I was boiling and couldn't think straight. I messaged her to please come home and that everything was fine, then I messaged Dad the screenshots of her conversation with Pete. Then I came here to write this update. I really don't care what happens next and won't write another update. Whether they separate or not isn't important to me anymore, since I know life won't go back to what it was anyway. The important thing is that I've made peace with carrying this burden.